Now for this shot, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you guys how you can straight line a cut freehand and end up with it looking as good as if you would have wrote it right up against the edge of a fence. So the trick here is going to be that you're going to hold a pretty wicked angle on the actual cut because you're going to ride on this back edge of the blade here, because this is my cutoff piece. This is the piece I want. So for me, that's what I would do. If you were going to do the vice versa portion of that, then I would be cutting like this, with this angle on it. If you cut straight on, you won't be using the back of your blade for a guide. You have to enter at somewhat of an angle. So first you're going to start really carefully with your hand kind of planted on the table. You're going to kind of get a start because it's going to want to be all over the place in the beginning because you don't have anything to guide against. So really gently make a start mark for yourself, and as soon as you're in deep enough, you can start riding the back edge. Let's see how that works. Okay, now we've mounted that board on a flat surface. Let's have a little close-up and see how we did. That's not too bad. You get a little room for improvement, but I would never call that bad. So there you have it, people. The trick to the whole game is just ride the back edge of the blade and take your time. Nothing works better. I mean, a fence always works good too, obviously, but not all the time can you use a fence. So to know this game really helps out. Really helps out a lot. Next, let's have a look at doing a circle. About a 6-inch circle for a 3/8 blade work really well. Let's have a look at that next. Now, if you look closely, you can see that the left side of the blade has very little space between it and the masonite. But the right side of the blade, you're seeing a lot of darkness there. There's plenty of room. And what I'm showing here is that the masonite is riding most often on the back edge of the blade. That's what I'm using for my fence, if you will. But this material bounces around on the table a lot. It's got that fuzzy background, and I have a polished surface. And it's skating on the table right now. It's very, very hard to do this. Not only that, I have the camera and tripod in front of me, and I'm trying to look over and around it as I attempt to cut this. So this is a challenge for sure, but it's coming out pretty good. Now I don't show it much, but my right hand, every time I regrasp, my right hand holds it down while my left hand regrasps. And that's a pretty important gig here because you're seeing that this thing is moving around a lot left to right. Really close attention like that shows it skating around. Normally you won't have that on your saw. But this one is, again, it's very high polished surface so that heavy items push through very easily. But for the most part, this is a start and continue on until you're done. I think I backed up a little on one shot. It came out pretty nice. Okay, when you put two of these together, you end up with a pretty tight seam. So it works really good when you guide off the back of that saw blade. No sanding was done. You can see that all the marks are all in there from the blade. This is no cutesy. This wasn't redone. If you look really close, of course, I don't know what screen you're going to be looking at this on. You might not be able to see these faint lines. Some of you guys are using little phones. And in closing, I would like to mention the lines you make. If you guys can do really fine, crisp lines, they're much easier to follow. Typically, the fat lines or something out of magic marker, you may not be able to follow nice and straight. So it's just the last tip. Keep them crisp and thin. They're a lot easier, at least for me, to follow. You guys let me know what you think. Take care.